Man, I'm hungry. I ain't eating all day, boy.
Excuse me?
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get a little something in my system here.
You're here as a photographer, and the guest needs pictures.
Yes, ma'am. I do understand it, but I've been on my feet all day working for you and taking all these pictures.
Did you not eat before you come?
I did, and I drove all like 2 hours to get here. I had a little breakfast.
That has nothing to do with me,
morning.
sir. I hired you as a photographer
yes.
to take pictures.
I understand.
This is not what me and my husband paid you to come and eat and take break.
But trust me, ma'am. Trust me. If you allow me the opportunity to get this in my system, I can rejuvenate energy.
I am not going
I
to
can
pay
finish
you
out
in full. I am not going to give you all your money. I'm going to deduct some of this money because this was not what I paid you for.
But wait a minute now. We did discuss this in the contract that you would provide a vendor meal for the vendors. You do that. Remember we talking about that?
He got me there.
If you're a photographer, do you think it's right for the bride and groom to pay for your meal or provide a meal for you at their wedding reception? Or have you done an event where you barely even had an opportunity to try to eat something for yourself? Well, this actually happened to us. And in this episode, we're going to dive in deep and explain why. So stay tuned. Welcome to our channel. This is a little A
and R.
And we're wedding photographers where we share inside tips about business, family, and our behind the scenes life as wedding photographers. So, as we stated earlier, if you're a wedding photographer, have you been in a situation where you were at a wedding, the bride or the groom, they promised that they was going to give you guys a vendor meal, but you never got around to eating it, right? So, in this video, we're going to talk about that. My lovely wife here, she came across this article one day that said, what was it, a hungry or angry photographer?
He was hungry.
Deleted some photos of the bride and groom. So tell them more about this article. You brought it to me. What happened?
Well, the title kind of caught my attention, and basically, don't know the full backstory, but basically, the photographer was denied a meal and deleted all the wedding photos and left. So that article came of interest because we recently had a situation with us where we were at a vendor and was not given a meal after like 10 hours.
Yeah, something like that. We didn't eat. We was putting in work, and the wedding was late, and there was some other couple things that happened, but we tried to endure as much as we could or what have you. But in this article, didn't you tell me that he was initially invited as a guest and then they asked him to take photos or something like that?
Yes, that's what I read in the article. That's the article that I read. That's what they said. And so he was supposed to be treated as a guest. And even if he was not initially a guest, still the question is, do you feed your wedding photographer?
Yes.
Whether a friend or whether it was an absolute stranger that you hired.
In our opinion, our experiences, in most cases, a vendor meal is provided for the wedding photographer or all the vendors that's at an event or a wedding or what have you. Everyone's is supposed to. It's a common courtesy or etiquette that the bride and groom provide that for the vendors. This particular situation that happened to us here recently, we had a 4-man team that day. Four or 5-man team or what have you. And we were working all day like we typically do. And then when it came around time to serve, we usually ask the bride and groom, can we eat with the bridal party? So that, therefore, soon as we eat, soon as the bride and groom eat, we can go right into, like the first dance or the testimony. We can get our camera equipment back up running, get the lights set up, and we can hit the ground running again, right? But for whatever reason, this particular event or wedding, that wasn't the case. So everyone else was getting fed. They knew we were there to eat, but the food never came. And so we was like, okay, let's wait around. While that was happening, I was up setting up for the first dance, this and that. And that. So I figured by the time I move my camera equipment to the next room, by the time I get back, food will be at the table. We can go ahead and eat. So I go do that, come back to the team, and they're still sitting there like twirling their thumbs, like food hasn't come yet, Ralph. So unfortunately, by the time the food actually came, it was too late, and they had already started the speeches.
Well, let's back it up just a bit.
Just a little bit, okay.
Just a little
What
bit.
did I forget?
Because the food didn't just come. What happened was they did not have anything else for us because when they put us in the room and told us to wait, they told us that they have given our food or they have served the DJ and whoever else, so they didn't have anything else. So right there, they was like, well, we'll see what we could do. We'll see what the kitchen. You didn't know this part because you had stepped out to prepare.
Yes.
So it was almost like, well, we'll see if we have anything else to feed you guys because we already gave out all the plates. And we're sitting there like, well, you didn't give it to us? We was told to sit in this room and no one came. And they came back and it was like, we're going to try to do something. But there wasn't as nice because the way they was making it seem was like, we already served, the DJ and stuff like that. So, and it was in the contract and they brought up the contract. And then that's when we started to get upset. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We understand it was in the contract, but we did not get food. So you're telling us that it was in the contract, and then they had changed our meal. Do you remember that?
Yes.
They had changed our meal. We were supposed to, and to be honest, if you don't want to serve us the exact meal as the rest of the guests, that's your choice. However, that wasn't initially that was in the contract. We was actually supposed to get the same meal
Yes.
as the guests, which was something more fancy. But when we actually got there, they were saying that we could get French fries and I don't know if it was a burger or something like that. And that was the first time I was hearing about that. And if you remember, one of the other team members also is a vegetarian.
Yes.
So that was a problem. And the whole thing was just messed up. But anyway, to fast forward back, they said they was going to try to get something. We are already like, I don't know how many time now has passed, but it was time for us to get back out with the bride and groom. Everyone already ate. And was it the cake or the toast? Well, we had to get, it was basically time for us to work again. So we went back to work. The food was not here yet.
No, still didn't come.
And then they had the toast, they had the cake cut, and then it was when we got to the second room.
Yes.
With the
first,
dance.
The first dance, yes.
That's when they said that they found something for us to eat. I think it was the French fries and stuff. I don't know about you, but if you're going to tell me, I'm just being honest, if you're going to tell me at a wedding that you're serving me French fries, excuse me, I'm going to go down the street and I'm going to get me a meal.
Yeah.
I'm not coming to your wedding and eating French fries. Yeah. I could provide a better meal for myself. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Well, the other issue is my wife, she's diabetic. So she has to eat something. There was another event that we did, but it wasn't the vendor's fault or the bride fault. You were just low that particular day.
Yes. No fault of anyone.
Yeah, and so I don't know if the food didn't come or it was late again or whatever. But her blood pressure, but blood sugar was getting low, and she just needed something to like replenish to get her levels back up. So that happened at another event.
And usually I do have snacks. So yes, I do provide things for myself on the wedding day. I always pack something. But back to this particular vendor, we was there. Is it safe to say 10 hours? Because there was
we was there long. We
about
were there
10
a
hours.
very long day.
It was very late and it dragged on. So it was about 10 hours and we did not eat. At that point, snacks are gone, and it's not like I'm packing a lunch meal when I know that food is going to be served. Yeah. But not just myself being a diabetic, you had 2 other team members that was diabetic. Yeah. So on the same day, at the same time, we had 3 members that were
Hmm.
diabetic who did not get any meal.
Yeah. Well, it happens. What do you guys think? Do you think the bride and groom should have stepped up to the plate? Now, we did voice our opinion to the couple and let them know that, hey, we never did get to eat or anything like that. And then there was an additional charge for our time that we sent over to the bride and groom. So there was measures that they try to compensate us for, what have you. But it happens. You know, sometimes you'll go to a wedding venue or an event and you may not get served. The vendors are not the top priority, and then sometimes you have a designated area where they have it already ready for you, like you're like top of the food chain where you're getting fed and served and catered to. So every venue or every wedding is going to be different. Everyone has different policies, different etiquettes, or what have you. But I would safely say that it is a good etiquette for the bride and groom to make sure that their venues are all being taken care of, especially the photographers and videographers, because they really need to eat when the bridal party eat. So once the food is starting to phase out, they can get right back into the action because after the meal is over with, you go right into what the first dance, the speech, and stuff like that. So you need that time to replenish your system, to get right back on your feet, and to hit that record button and keep going or snap more pictures. So,
So what happened? Well, since your team didn't eat, what ended up happening? Did you stay and finish everything? You did mention that there was additional charge. So
yes, for the delay. So we did charge them for that. But what we ended up doing later on that night, we just took the team out. There was a nice restaurant across the street. We went over there and we just had dinner. And actually, that food was pretty good. Actually, I love those lamb chops that we had.
we need to go back. So you're telling me that you had to feed the team. Did you
Yeah,
feel like it was kind of on you to make sure that your team, like a good courtesy
yeah,
to feed your team before they take off and go home?
yeah.
Why did
Because
you do that?
well, I mean, they didn't. Number one, they obviously they didn't get fed, and they had been working all day. So I just felt that it was right to do. Plus, I was hungry myself, so I would be wrong to be like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to go grab something to eat and not feed them." So I thought it was the best thing to do, just to
How
feed the whole team.
Okay. How did you feel when you found out that three of your members was diabetics?
Not a good feeling knowing that because anything could have happened. That could have been a major medical problem we would have had on our hand, and then I really couldn't have been able to finish their event anyway if everyone's sick or if their levels are too low or too high or whatever the case might have been. So that wouldn't have been a good predicament for me to have to explain to the couple. Well, my team didn't get anything to eat, now they're not feeling well. Their levels are too low, so now we can't finish out the rest of your day, regardless if the wedding was running behind or not. No, that wouldn't have been a good feeling for me as the business owner. No.
Do you think is anything you could do in the future to ensure that this doesn't happen again? And I know it wasn't the couple's fault; it was the vendors. But do you think there's anything you would have done differently next time?
Well, like we always try to do, if we have time to do it, we usually try to pack food in advance, like snacks, apple, oranges, drinks, just anything just to keep us going throughout the day. And on this particular day, we didn't do it. I do remember that we didn't have anything unless we had I can't recall if we had breakfast earlier that morning, but that breakfast food it just runs right through you. It's not sustainable. Uh,
And then it was actually, in my experience anyway, working with him, that was the longest wedding day I have experienced with him that went over. Usually we do 8 hours, and it was actually an 8 hour wedding day.
yeah.
And that was
Well, it was supposed to have been. Yeah, it was supposed to be 8, but we ended up doing like almost 10, 9 or
so
10 or something like
so
that. So
that
we
was
went
the
over.
longest I
Yeah,
have experienced. Um, and I don't know, it was just a dragon day to me,
yeah,
if I remember.
yeah, yeah. But
It happens.
it happens.
So what would you do if that happened to you?
Yeah. So go ahead and comment below what you think, how you feel, or if it's happened to you before. We'd love to know, and give us some more ideas, or to let us know how we could have done things better. Could we communicate it earlier to the bride and groom? What would you have done if you was in our shoes?
Would you have stayed? Would you have finished the pictures? Would you
Or-
have deleted the pictures
Yeah,
and walked
delete
off?
them, that part.
Or would you have stayed to finish the wedding day for the couple, even though it wasn't entirely their fault, and you was very hungry and tired
Yes.
as well?
Yep. Well,
Let us know.
let us know.
You
So,
want to hear more?
want to hear more?
You want to hear more about our crazy days?
What?
Make sure you subscribe to our channel.
Click that button below.
So make sure you stay tuned for little A and we are going to take you behind the scenes to other stuff just that we encounter throughout the day. And while we're filming wedding photography or whatever the case may be.
Because we do more than just weddings.
Yes.
We do a whole bunch of stuff.
And if you are a photographer yourself, and please leave a comment below. Let us know your experience. Let us know if you'd like to hear something else. And we'll try to see if we could bring more to you.
Yeah, create more content around it. So until next time, thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow us so you can be notified of the next video. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.